Hi, this is Manjula Narayan, books editor, Hindustan Times, and this is Bookstack, the weekly show where, I pick the most interesting books that have come to me in the last few days. This time we've got kind of a mixed bag. I mean, we've got books that deal with, with science, with women in science, with deity, with divinity, with, journalism practice in India, and with social structure. So let's go ahead. The first one I have is 10 Women Who Changed Science and the World by Catherine Whitlock and Rodri Evans. Very interesting. I only pick interesting books for this show, but this is, often you have some silly men saying that, oh, but men invented everything. Well, it's not true. And next time somebody says that to you can, make sure you go through this book and read it so you can, kind of chuck some names of great women inventors and scientists at them. Well, beyond Marie Curie, who's the one that nobody can forget. But so let's see, I'll read the back. 10 Women Who Changed Science tells the moving stories of 10 outstanding female physicists, biologists, chemists, astronomers, and doctors who helped to shape our world with their extraordinary breakthroughs and inventions, and outlines their remarkable achievements. Some were rewarded with a Nobel Prize for their pioneering achievements, Madame Curie twice. Others were not. Even among those who were, very few are household names. Which is why, when you get that question, oh, what did women invent? Often you're flummoxed, but you don't need to be. At least that's the great advantage of this book. Then we have, going from, science to divinity, mythology, religion. You have the Reluctant Family Man, Shiva in Everyday Life by Nilima Chit Gopekar. So this is a book on Shiva. He's one of the most the most fascinating of Hindu deities, because he's an ascetic and a family man, and he's portrayed as Ardhanarishwar, which is man and woman, so all that. So let's read the back. Shiva, the one in whom the ascetic and the householder merge. He's the destroyer of evil, the pervasive one in whom all things lie. He's brilliant, terrifying, wild, and beneficent. He is both an ascetic and a householder, both a yogi and a guru. He encompasses the masculine and the feminine, the powerful and the graceful, the tandav and the lasya, the darkness and the light, the divine and the human. What can we learn from this bundle of contradictions, this dreadlocked yogi? How does he manage the devotions and duties of father, husband, and man of the house, and the demands and supplications of a clamorous cosmos? In The Reluctant Family Man, Nilima Chit Gopekar uses the life and personality of Shiva, his self-awareness, his marriage, his balance, his detachment, his contentment, to derive lessons that readers can practically apply to their own lives. With chapters broken down into distinct frames of analysis, she defines concepts of Shaivism and interprets their applications in everyday life. So, and it's very, it's written not in some heavy language. So it's something that readers can, imbibe and understand. So there you have it, The Reluctant Family Man, Shiva in Everyday Life. Next, we move to a book on Indian journalism. Contemporary Indian journalism, something that affects me, something that affects my colleagues, and something that affects, readers and viewers who consume what we create. Indian journalism in a new era, changes, challenges, and perspectives, edited by Shakuntala Rao. Okay. And in the ever-changing information environment of the early 21st century, citizens and journalists alike are eagerly adapting to new technologies, and India is no different. The country's communication revolution in the post-liberalization era has led to one of the largest media markets in the world. Further, changes in media ownerships and the blending of news with opinions have impacted established practices of reporting. Given the breadth and scope of India's media, there is little meaningful literature available about journalism practice in the country today. So this book brings together informative and critical contributions about contemporary Indian journalism from 21 Indian and global scholars and journalists. So if you just look at the contents, part 1 looks at the history and evolving changes. It looks at press censorship in 1975 to 77 as a watershed media movement in India. Then it looks at social media and e-journalism, That's internet vernacularization, mobilization and journalism. Tweet first, work on the story later. Role of social media in Indian journalism. Then mapping the news app ecosystem. So all sorts of that. Marginalization in journalism, which looks at gender and selection and framing of rape news in the Indian media. And narratives in the Kashmir conflict and environmental journalism. So all those sorts of things, and then ethics, pedagogy and the public sphere in journalism. So a range of, so it's a very scholarly book, and it deals with serious issues with contemporary journalism, the practice of contemporary journalism in India, which is why I find it very interesting and very thought-provoking as a working journalist. So there you have it. And finally, we have caste as social capital, the complex place of caste in Indian society, Professor R. Vaidyanathan. Well, as much as you might deny your caste identity or the importance of it or play on it or whatever, in India, we cannot ignore the existence of caste. And this book kind of looks at social capital, caste as social capital. Many consider caste as an outdated institution, but it thrives in post-liberalization India. The establishment and running of businesses tap into caste networks, both in terms of arranging finance and providing access to a ready workforce. By and large, caste has only been studied from a religious, social and political angle. Though it is widely accepted that caste has economic ramifications, any study of this aspect has been limited to looking at caste groups in terms of their per capita income, their representation in various professions and their statistical details. Whereas now this book examines the workings of caste through the lens of business, economics and entrepreneurship. It interrogates the role caste plays in the economic sphere in terms of facilitating the nuts and bolts of business and entrepreneurship, finance, markets and workforce. Through this qualitative view of caste, an entirely new picture emerges of caste, which forces one to view this age-old institution in a new light. So, it looks at caste categories and entrepreneurs. It looks at reservation in education. It looks at caste in education, all that. So, it's clearly something that's, caste in economic clusters, the Vaishyavization of India, caste in the service sector, caste in politics. So everything through the prism of caste, which is, necessary, I guess, in a society, a very complicated society like ours. So that's what we have this week. I'll do a quick recap. 10 Women Who Changed Science in the World by Catherine Whitlock and Rodri Evans. An important book. It reminds us that, women have done as much in science as men have, really. The Reluctant Family Man, Shiva in Everyday Life, Nilima Chitgopekar. Indian Journalism in a New Era, Changes, Challenges and Perspectives, edited by Shakuntala Rao. And Caste as Social Capital, The Complex Place of Caste in Indian Society by Professor R. Vaidyanathan. So there you have it. That's what we have in Bookstack this week. Come back again next week for more interesting books. See you then. Bye.